rookie year with an even better sophomore season, 23 points per game for the playoff-bound Jazz. But not all of his fans get to watch him play every night. Take a listen.
Come on. You want to watch Donovan Mitchell?
Yeah.
But it's time for bed.
Donovan Mitchell.
You really want to watch him?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. The game's already over.
Donovan Mitchell.
We can watch him this weekend when he plays again, okay?
Donovan Mitchell.
I'm sorry.
Donovan Mitchell.
Okay.
That's great.
So after seeing the video, Donovan Mitchell tweeted, "I'll make sure you guys have tickets to our last home game if it is not past for bedtime." Love that.
That's
great.
awesome.
Really, really cool.
Yeah, that dad needs to do something. I'm glad Donovan Mitchell intervened and everything, because if not, in 20 years, this girl's going to be yelling at someone like Russell Westbrook on the court, those angry Utah fans and everything. So please get her some tickets and everything.
That's awesome. By the way, I feel like the dad was tricking her. Said the game already ended. Like, what's this girl's bedtime? 11 p.m.? This is a West Coast tip. Okay. Come on. I feel like the game was at halftime. Was tricking the daughter. Should have let her stay up, man.
That's
Is
your
Utah
biggest takeaway?
trying to figure out what its seeding is? Yeah, of course that's my takeaway. Little girl, 3 years old, loves the Jazz. Let her watch the game. What, you got big tests
I don't
in the
even
morning?
watch the game, and I'm
Yeah,
38.
I understand.
Yeah.
38.
She doesn't love the Jazz. She
anyway.
loves what her dad loves. Her dad's watching the Jazz all the time, so she's like, who is that? It's Donovan Mitchell. It's like your little girl.
Just like Deanna with Tiger Woods. Same.
38.
38 years old. That's how many years I've
We
been.
got
Deanna don't like Tiger Woods as much. He had a couple photos out there.
Oh, yeah,
with,
that's true. Yeah, it's a big controversy in the Wright household.
Time for some stories to start your morning, sponsored by Gillette Clear Gel. The national title game is set for tonight. UVA taking on Texas Tech. Nick, this is an easy one. Who you got?
It's not an easy one. This is a very hard pick.
But for Jenna.
It's easy for me. All I do is say those words.
I'm just, to me, this is a dead even game, and Vegas agrees. But I'm going to go with the storyline. The storyline of the worst loss in NCAA history being followed up by winning a championship. Many of the same players. Tony Bennett, total redemption. I think in a defensive battle. It might be first one to 50 wins this one. I'll take Virginia in a squeaker.
It's going to be tough, man. It's tough to call this one. I mean, both of them have knockdown shooters. Both of them play at a very, very slow pace. But I believe this is good for college basketball. Virginia has the better team. They've played better over the last 3 or 4 years. They get paid out tonight with the victory.
All right, to the NBA now. The Warriors clinched the 1 seed last night with a win over the Clippers. They have won at least 56 games each of the last 5 years. Nick, what does this mean for their title defense?
Well, most importantly, now they've clinched the 1 seed. They won't have to play anybody in their final game of the year, and so they're going to go into the playoffs totally healthy. That was the #1 goal for the Warriors this year, was health, and it was nice seeing them wear those throwback jerseys in the last game ever at Oracle, for them to put on a show for their fans, dominating the Clippers the way they did. But the Warriors, even though there were some fits and stops this season, going in the playoffs healthy is really what they were concerned about.
Yeah, they're just trying to get to the playoffs. They are a heavy favorite to be able to win their 3rd championship in a row. Can they get there healthy? They went through a couple bouts where they had turmoil. Clay was in a shooting slump. Other little nagging injuries. They added Bogut here for the playoffs. Yeah, the Warriors are ready. Get ready. Shine up the trophy. Put their name on it. It's a wrap.
All right, moving on to the Rockets. They broke their own record, hitting 27 three-pointers in a win over the Suns. See, how impressive is Houston's shooting?
Well, I'm not going to get to the shoot. The Suns suck. I mean, they were horrible. This was an awful basketball game. I thought this was the Globetrotters playing against the Washington Nationals or whatever. Yeah, them two. Same damn city. Okay, yeah, this was a bad basketball game. So, I mean, we know Houston's style. But I hadn't seen such a big difference in talent in the NBA game in a long time. This was hard to watch.
If the Warriors don't end up being able to shine up the trophy, it's going to be because the Rockets beat them, and it's going to be because they have a game or two in a series like this. What's unbelievable is the Rockets tied their own NBA record for threes in a game on Tuesday with 26 and then broke it yesterday. They're shooting as well as a team ever has, obviously, and they're shooting at super high volume. It does help they're playing the second worst team in the entire NBA. The Phoenix Suns.
All right, finally, Paul Pierce set the basketball world abuzz over the weekend by saying he had a better career than Dwyane Wade. That despite Wade having more titles, more all-star selections, more all-defensive honors, and more all-NBA selections. But still, see, what do you make of Pierce's claim?
Man, I watch people every day of the week say dumb stuff on TV. And Paul Pierce just puts his name right in there. Like, when you start comparing yourself to players, you open yourself up to be criticized and to be wrong. And in this one, he just compared himself to the wrong guy. In real time, when he was doing the show, if he could back on it, he didn't have to insert himself in there. This had nothing to do with him. But he inserted himself into, oh, man, if I had Shaq, he had forgot his own past. Well, they did trade for KG for you. Yeah. And Ray Allen, they did get those. You guys were the original big three. So I watch TV all day. I do 15 hours of TV. I hear people say dumb stuff every single day. Paul Pierce, welcome to the club.
Yeah, and Paul Pierce been in that club, the saying dumb stuff on TV club. But this is delusional. It's not just the eye test. It's not just the numbers that you laid out. Wade was, for the bulk of his prime, a consensus top 10 player in the league. Pierce maybe had 1 year where that was true. I mean, how do we judge top 10 players? You go by top 10 MVP voting? You go by first or second All-NBA, first or second team All-NBA selection? Just look at it. Just look at what D. Wade had. 7 top 10 MVP finishes to Pierce's 1. 5 first or second teams to Pierce's 1. Super high-level scoring years. D. Wade's got 3. Paul Pierce has 0. Nobody believes this. It's not like this is, the old barbershop debate, Wilt or Bill Russell. You know what I mean? The Magic Isaiah Thomas. There's no debate here. There's no argument. And it is kind of par for the course for Paul Pierce overrating within his era where he is. And for not understanding that when he said, oh, give me prime Shaq. Well, Wade didn't have prime Shaq. Wade had very good Shaq. But the year they won their first title, the title without LeBron, the title that I know you were at a bunch of those games, the second leading scorer in the finals for Dwyane Wade's Heat was former Celtic Antoine Walker, a guy that Paul Pierce had for a long time and could never make anything work with as far as high-level winning. Like, this is not a close discussion, and nobody thinks it is.
Why do you think Paul Pierce thinks it is? Why do you think Paul Pierce thinks he was a better player than Dwyane Wade, or would have been a better player had he had the same weapons that
almost
Dwyane Wade
every
had?
great player I ever met, all of them think they're better than what they are, myself included. So every player that I've been, they all thought they were better. Thought that their highlights were better, thought that their stats were better. He just verbalized it on television.
And Pierce also, it's made very clear since his career ended, he has a level of insecurity about where he is historically, about how that he thinks the public does not understand how good he was. You remember he was upset that he was going to have to share the jersey retirement night with Isaiah Thomas. There's a lot of these little moments where
I would have been upset about that too. Because Isaiah and what he means to basketball for the Celtics is totally different. You got enough nights, you can separate that. That wasn't Paul Pierce's fault. This is my night. I'm not going to share it with some other guy with what. Now let's look back on it. What does Isaiah mean as far as Celtics history? Zip, 0. And what Paul did there, bringing the lore back to the Celtics, that was special. Now, Paul was a great player. And just because you compare yourself to another player and the argument seems lopsided, let's not take anything away from him. He had a remarkable career. And if you're going to do something for me one last night, he shouldn't have to share that with another player.
Well, okay, so that's side issue from the bigger issue here. But I've seen him enough on television, whether he's talking about LeBron, whether he's talking about other guys he went up against, this rivalry with Kobe that it never really existed, even though they played each other twice in the finals. Didn't exist anywhere but in his brain. Like, he's a future Hall of Famer. He's a finals MVP, and that should be enough. But Paul Pierce asked to do this on TV. It didn't get sprung on him. Before the show, he said, let's do this. I think I'm better. Okay, man, like, you're one of one in NBA history that thinks you're better.
All right, moving on to the NFL. Just when you thought the Steelers had put their drama behind them, you realize they are still the Pittsburgh Steelers. Antonio Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster exchanged barbs yesterday. It started when AB responded to a Steelers fan who tweeted that Juju was the MVP. Brown sniped back, saying, boy fumbled the whole postseason in the biggest game of the year. Everyone went blind. Too busy making guys famous, not enough reality these days. By the way, check the list. So Juju responded, "All I ever did was show that man love and respect from the moment I got to the league. I was genuinely happy for him, too, when he got traded to Oakland with a big contract, and now he takes shots at me on social media." Juju then added, "Crazy how big that ego got to be to take shots at people who show the love," shaking my head. See, what was your reaction to this back and forth?
Well, there used to be, and there has been for a long-standing time, a tremendous sense of pride in the older players in the league, making sure they took care of the younger players. And AB experienced that when he was drafted by a very, very veteran-oriented Pittsburgh Steelers team. Had great veterans on that team like Hines Ward, guys who showed them the way as a 6th-round pick. Man, showed him how to do it, showed him how to go about his business. And AB was supposed to do the same for Juju. And it's been a legacy that we have in the league, in the fraternity that we have, and we understand that and we know that. I used to tell younger wide receivers, I'm going to try to help you out. Now, I might have a little fun. Wide receiver might ask me, what do I have on this route in practice? I might tell him the wrong route so he can get chewed out by the coaches so we can have a little laugh. But at the beginning and end of the day, it's in my best interest to help him learn a game that I was able